Don't be shy. Come on up over here. So we're holding our second Resist Trump Tuesday rally. All right. Last week's rally was very successful. We had over 100 people show up here. We had coverage from The Stranger. We were on the 4 o'clock news on Q13. So we are getting our voices out there. That's right. My name is Iga Kozlowska, and I'm with Seattle Indivisible, and I know there are a lot of other Indivisible groups out there, East Side, any other congressional districts? Bothell.
Island County.
Island County, great, all right.
Snohomish County.
Snohomish County, great. Thank you all for coming. So like last week, we've got we got 7 speakers actually, and we will be discussing last week, which, oh my God, if you were like me, you woke up every morning last week anxious and angry just from reading the news. Yeah, and so we are here to respond to Trump's disastrous first week in office. We are here to resist. And so we've got 7 wonderful speakers talking about the different cabinet nominees that are unfit and unqualified to serve in our administration. And we'll, of course, be talking about the executive orders and the immigration ban. I know some of you out here were at the airport protest. So thank you all for coming. So with that, we'll have 7 speakers come on up here, and then we'll sort of wrap up. And then I know a lot of you here are here to see your senators, and you've got letters that you brought with you, and so we'll be sending small groups of folks upstairs as well. And I know the senators have said they have office hours today around 1 p.m., so if you can stick around for that, great. The more folks we send up there, the better. All right, so with that, let me grab my agenda here. So, do we have Marie Bench?
Your mic's off.
I'm sorry.
Mic's
Okay.
off.
I'll let you say your name. So if you want to, I can hold this for you and speak into this.
Make sure you press the button on the side.
I think it's up. Okay, you test it.
My name is Marie My name is Marie van Schravendijk. I'm a Netherlands immigrant and an LGBT citizen.
Thank you.
Now, the Netherlands was occupied by the Nazis in World War II. My parents told me how the Nazis established authoritarian rule, step by incremental step. And people thought, well, it won't get worse. Well, it did. And a branch of my family was killed in the Holocaust. So I take a branch of my family was killed in the Holocaust. So I take discrimination very seriously.
That's right.
We're still reeling from the Muslim ban and the Mexican wall. And soon it will be the turn of LGBT people. There was going to be an executive order this week on Thursday, but now it seems it may be delayed because of the tremendous protests against the Muslim ban. So other threats we are facing are the First Amendment Defense Act, which will invite tremendous widespread discrimination against LGBT people based on so-called religious freedom. Second, the Affordable Care Act mandated non-discrimination of all kinds, and with its repeal, LGBT people could be severely impacted. I have created a handout that shows that virtually all of the swamp cabinet nominees are extremely anti-LGBT. Here reshape the legal landscape for LGBT people. But he co-sponsored the First Amendment Defense Act. He voted against the Matthew Shepard Hate Crimes Prevention Act. He voted against same-sex couples getting Social Security. He voted against spousal benefits for military veterans who are in same-sex couples. He voted against the Employment Non-Discrimination Act. He voted against repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell. And he voted for amending the U.S. Constitution to ban same-sex marriage. Second, Betsy DeVos heading to education. Together with her husband and family, she donated millions to anti-LGBT groups and initiatives, including hate groups like the Family Research Council, including the Michigan marriage ban, groups supporting conversion therapy, and groups opposing anti-bullying programs as if they promoted homosexuality. She may be more moderate than her family. She may have quietly helped a few LGBT people, but she is not a leader who will stand up for LGBT rights at the education department. Children and young people are especially vulnerable, and they have lifelong wounds and even homelessness from lack of acceptance, bullying, and conversion therapy.
That's right.
She must not be allowed to ruin the lives of millions of children. The Muslim ban shows the bigger picture, that this administration has no regard for the law and is purposely creating chaos and fear. They want us to submit to their rule as they establish more authoritarianism and pillage public assets like the education system for moving taxpayer money to religious schools. It's clear now why such unqualified individuals have been nominated to the swamp cabinet. Their goal is to destroy our federal institutions and protections. Democratic senators must gum up the confirmation process using every tool available.
That's right.
We must resist and we must stay unified. One for all for one. No to the nominees. No to the nominees.
Thank you so much, Marie. Next up, we've got Ilyana, who'll be talking about immigration issues.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Close here?
That's it.
Thank you. My name is Eliana Scott Dennis. I'm a member of Seattle's Orthodox Jewish community. And before I start today, I want to acknowledge that we're closer. Okay. Before I'd like to acknowledge that we're standing on Duwamish land. The Duwamish people have been the caretakers of this land for many generations, and I'd like us to appreciate that and acknowledge it. I'm actually going to be talking about a Commerce Committee meeting that's happening tomorrow. But before I do that, because that sounds awfully trivial in the scale of what we're dealing with, I wanted to contextualize it. And I thought about what brings me here today. And there was a sign that I saw at the CTAC protest that said, "Never again is now." We stand at a turning point in our nation's history, and people will look back at our generation and say, "Where were you? Where were you in this rising tide of Islamophobia?" Where were you as families were torn apart by deportations? Where were you as our environmental regulations are weakened? Where were you as our labor unions were weakened?
We're right here!
But the verdict of history isn't what gets me out of bed in the morning. It haunts my nightmares, but it doesn't get me out of bed in the morning. What gets me out of bed in the morning is believing that when your disenfranchisement hurts me, when your drinking water in Flint, Michigan being poisoned hurts me, when your people are suffering anti-LGBTQ discrimination, that hurts me. And when my fears matter to you, that we build a world that's better for all of us. The Commerce Committee is meeting tomorrow. Our Senator Cantwell is on that committee. Let me get my notes and read you the title. A growth agenda, reducing unnecessary regulatory burdens. Reducing regulation sounds nice. I don't like limitations. Growth is wonderful, right? We want a better economy. But when we think about what those regulations are, the regulations that support our labor unions, the regulations for equal opportunity employment, the regulations that require corporations to serve us, regardless of the color of our skin, our faith, or our orientation.
That's right.
These things affect all of us. It also affects the safety of the water we drink and the air we breathe. So although it sounds like a trivial technical thing that's happening, I think this is very big. And I think we need to say to Senator Cantwell, I'm not the president and CEO of the American Petroleum Institute, and I don't get to come and testify about how this is going to affect our community, but she's there. And she's there to speak for us.
That's right. That's right.
And I'm tired of our members of Congress picking and choosing their issues.
That's right. That's right.
There's a union song I grew up with. I'm going to repurpose it. In Washington, D.C. today, there are no neutrals now. Neutrality and standing on the sidelines is complicity.
That's right. That's right.
And we need our members of Congress to stand up, to speak back, and to fight for us.
That's right.
Because they're not going to get any help from Mr. Sessions or Mr. Trump. So when we talk to Senator Cantwell today, we need to encourage her to speak up more, to stop picking her issues, and to enter this meeting tomorrow ready to fight for our interests and our values. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Juliana. Thank you. That's right. That's right.
Yes.
We are here speaking to our members of Congress. Senator Cantwell, Senator Murray, we want you to represent our voices. We appreciate it and we applaud you when you do stand up and represent our values. Thank you for co-sponsoring a bill that would rescind Trump's executive order. But we're also here to say we need more. Use everything in your power to about Jeff Sessions. Monica.
Yates is a hero. Gets that microphone.
Yes.
Hello! Jeff Sessions, Trump's nominee for Attorney General of the Department of Justice. Senator Sessions says that he has changed, but that isn't just true. In 2013, he voted against the reauthorization of the Violence Against Women Act. Millions of women marched on the 21st against violence and for equal pay. Senator Sessions will not use the Department of Justice to fight for women's rights. He voted to defund Planned Parenthood. Was rejected for a federal judgeship by fellow Republicans because of his history of racist beliefs. Has voted against nearly every immigration bill that included a pathway to citizenship and supports mass deportation of immigrants. The list goes on and on. NAACP President says CEO Cornwell William Brooks said, as an opponent of the vote, he cannot be trusted to be the chief law enforcement officer for voting rights. President Trump is already saying that the Department of Justice will work to prosecute 3 million illegal voters in 2016 election, which is a lie, and if it isn't, I would like a special election, or you need to look into it.
3 times for Trump.
As some of you know or may not know, President Donald Trump fired acting Attorney General Sally Yates last night for refusing to enforce a legal order designed to protect the citizens of the United States, the White House said. That order is, of course, the Muslim ban. Sally Yates said, my responsibility is to ensure that the position of the Department of Justice is not only legally defensible, but is informed by our best view of what the law is after consideration of all the facts. In addition, I am responsible for ensuring that the positions we take in court remain consistent with this institution's solemn obligation to always seek justice and stand for what is right. As she said, at present, I am not convinced that the defense of the executive order is consistent with these responsibilities, nor am I convinced that the executive order is lawful. Jeff Sessions will most likely not uphold the position of Attorney General like Sally Yates just did. He will put his own interests ahead of the people, and those interests are dangerous to us and the Constitution. Charles Schumer of New York said that Sessions should have to disclose his opinion of Trump's immigration order before the Senate votes on his nomination. And I second that, but we most likely really already know his opinion. This Sessions nomination is a clear moral test for senators. Will they defend the Constitution?
No.
Will they defend the Constitution or be put party first and enable the bigoted and illegal agenda of the Trump administration? Which side of history will they be on? We know the answer. That's why I'm asking you, Senators Murray and Cantwell, to stand up and keep standing up to Trump by not confirming a slate of cabinet picks who are the most hostile to the working class, to civil rights and civil liberties, and to the environment. Say no to Jeff Sessions.
Just say no! 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 All right. Next up, we've got Rachel, who will be speaking about Andrew Puster as the nominee for the Department of Labor and why he is unfit and unqualified.
Hello, my name is Rachel Greenlee. I am a Seattle mother as well as a member of the corporate community here for many years, and I'm taking time outside of work because this is not okay. I want to talk to you about the nomination for the Secretary of Labor. The confirmation hearing for Andrew Puzder will take place on Thursday. And I want to ask you if you think someone who was 0.01% of earnings in the United States should decide whether $7.25 per hour is a living wage. Once again, we have someone uniquely unqualified in Trump's cabinet as a nominee. If you've noticed, there are three things in common with his nominees. One, they are wealthy. Two, they are donors to Trump. And three, they have a history of promoting a conservative agenda. So now, I want to give you three reasons why we need to ask our senators not to support Puzder.
Don't ask, demand.
Demand, thank you, demand.
You're doing great, sorry.
One, all good, demand. One, he has a disdain for the very people who have helped him make his wealth. This year, in an interview to Business Insider, he advocated for automating in fast food, which is his business. And he said specifically because when you have automation, machines are, and this is his quote, always polite, they never take a vacation, they never show up late, and you never have a discrimination case. Is that okay? The second reason is that his restaurants, which are Carl's Jr. and Hardee's, and his company is CKE Restaurants, is a persistent labor law violator. According to the Department of Labor, 60% of his restaurants have had a Fair Labor Standards Act violation, and he has faced several class action lawsuits. So how would we expect someone to enforce laws who doesn't even enforce them today in his own business?
Unqualified.
Third, he chooses to benefit corporations at the expense of American workers. He opposes, and this is in writing, sourced by many places, an overtime rule that would raise wages for millions of American workers. He also, while pulling in his multi-million-dollar annual salary, opposes increasing the federal minimum wage. His restaurant workers earn poverty-level wages. The Berkeley Center for Labor Research has said that 40% of fast food workers live in poverty. So again, I ask you, do we need a labor secretary from the 0.01% who believes $7.25 is a livable wage?
No, ma'am.
And do we need a labor secretary whose business record is defined by fighting against the working people, the very people who prop up his salary? No. So today we demand that Senator Cantwell and Murray resist this nomination with all their might. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rachel. Senators Cantwell and Murray. lined up talking about Tom Price and how he's unqualified for Health and Human Services. Joel, take it away.
Thoroughly unqualified. We can be honest. Better now? Yeah. All right. This guy we can actually do something about. Our senators have done their job for this particular nomination. They have walked out of the confirmation hearing. If those 12 Democrats do not step foot back in that hearing, the vote cannot go forward. So while this demonstration is great, when you get home, these are the people you need to contact, because these people need numbers. They need statistics telling them, I'm on the right side of this. Bill Nelson, Democrat of Florida. Robert Menendez, Democrat from New Jersey. Thomas Carper of Delaware. Benjamin Cardin of Maryland. Sherrod Brown of Ohio. Michael Bennett of Colorado. Mark Warner of Virginia, Claire McCaskill of Missouri, and Ron Wyden of Oregon. Give them numbers to back up why they are not going to set foot in those hearings. Because if they don't, this guy can't go forward, and we don't want him. There is no LGBTQ, no women's rights, no impoverished rights bill that has ever come before that Congress that he has not voted against if it would help those groups. None. He's a good old boy from Georgia with a very conservative agenda, and it's not going to be pretty. So I will post those online, and I'm sure there's a couple of other people too, but we can get them out there because these people need to be contacted immediately so that they stand their ground and do not walk back into that hearing. The Republicans can do nothing to let this travesty go forward. There isn't really an aspect of our daily life that Health and Human Services isn't going to impact, whether it's our health, whether it's our equal rights. It touches everything, and this guy is not going to protect anyone but a very, very small white male Christian majority, and a rich one at that. Not someone who represents those of us here, not someone who represents the country in general, and we cannot let him have the keys to that car.
Why aren't they walking out of everyone? Dems walk out! 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 Just 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 walk out! Thank you so much, Joel. All right. Next up, we've got Sally, who'll be talking about Rex Tillerson and how he's unfit and unqualified for Secretary of State.
Hi, can you hear me? Yes. My name is Sally Stroud, and like the rest of you, I've been horrified, angry, and afraid by what's happening in only 11 days. I fear that our country is teetering on a precipice that we do not want to be on, and that we may not recover very well from. Now, Rex Tillerson has been, I think the hearings are over, and he is likely to be confirmed tomorrow. And that is, and that is very, very bad. Like all the other cabinet nominees, he has no governmental experience, and he has no diplomatic experience. Like the rest of them, he is for profit only. That's his only motivation. He worked for ExxonMobil his entire career. career and left as CEO with a $180 million retirement package. As you know, ExxonMobil funded a massive misinformation campaign to hide the reality of climate change from the American public, for which they are now under investigation, though that may not last. Exxon not only knew about the threat of climate change decades ago, they failed to take action, but they chose instead to launch a major effort to prevent action, obscure the science, attack science, and fund misinformation. Now, it gets even worse because ExxonMobil cut a deal with Russia in 2011 for a joint venture with a Russian company to explore for oil in the Russian Arctic and other places. ExxonMobil and Russia were so tight that in 2013, Putin awarded Tillerson the Russian Order of Friendship. They are very, very good friends. But in 2014, the collaboration was forced to end because of sanctions put in place by President Barack Obama. After Russia invaded the Ukraine, not surprisingly, Tillerson opposed the sanctions. At one point, Russia threatened to seize ExxonMobil's oil drilling rig, and the company won a brief reprieve from the sanctions. During that period, a field containing about 750 million barrels of oil was found. Now, this is the really worst part, as if all this isn't bad. There has been speculation that the sanctions were a big part of the reason for Russia's interference in the presidential race. They know that Trump and Tillerson are more likely to back the lifting of the restrictions and sanctions. Tillerson has promised to recuse himself from decisions involving ExxonMobil, but only during the first year of his term that's mandated by law. The oil deal with Russia has the potential to last for decades. He says that the risk of climate change does exist, but the degree of the threat is unclear. He is not qualified, unfit, and must not be confirmed. Unqualified, 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 unqualified.
Okay, you got it. Okay. Thank you so much, Sally. All right. And last but not least, we've got Sandy, who'll be talking about Steve Mnuchin and how he's unfit and unqualified for the Treasury. Scream into it now. It's all
Hi, I'm Sandy Bond. I'm here to talk about Mnuchin, but first, I would like to... I would like to thank our Governor Jay Inslee for standing up against Trump. And for standing up for our values. I'd also like to thank Attorney General Bob Ferguson for filing a lawsuit against the ban on immigration. Were our ancestors not immigrants? Okay, last night, Trump fired Acting Attorney General Gates. Maybe it's time to fire Trump!
Fire Trump! Fire Trump! Fire Trump! Fire Trump! Fire Trump! Fire Trump! Fire Trump! Fire Trump!
Okay, Trump thrives on chaos at the expense of civility. He exhibits traits of a mentally immature, if not unstable person who wants to get rid of anyone who doesn't agree with him. He even went behind the backs of his own Secretary of Defense and Secretary of Homeland Security for his executive order on immigration. These are frightening times and unusual times. Yes, fire Bannon, thank you. Yes.
Fire Bannon! Fire Bannon!
treasure king, and he's been nominated for Treasury Secretary in charge of making financial policies for this country. He bought a bank for $1.6 billion in 2009 and then sold it in 2015 for $3.4 billion, foreclosing on tens of thousands of properties. With his company even forging and altering dates on documents to make it easier to foreclose upon people. He foreclosed on active duty military. This is illegal. He foreclosed on senior citizens and struggling families. He made billions of dollars off the pain of others. And he even foreclosed on a 90-year-old woman for a 27-cent error. Mnuchin lied or withheld information to the Senate about $95 million in real estate holdings that he has. He withheld information about the management of 7 investment funds, including ones being held in offshore tax havens, and he directly lied at the confirmation hearings about robo-signing of documents. This robo-signing was often done by non-experts who signed hundreds of foreclosure papers without review. Real people were put out on the streets so that Mnuchin could make billions of dollars for his own pocket. Mnuchin even pocketed $3.2 million off the Barney Madoff Ponzi scheme and then didn't even offer to give any money back to the victims. Mnuchin's practices have been predatory, deceitful, illegal, and lacking in ethics. Is this the kind of person you want in charge of policy making for the finances of this country? I'm asking Senators Murray and Cantwell to please reject Mnuchin. Reject. Fire Trump.
Thank you, Sandy. Fire Trump. 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 Let's give a huge round of applause for our speakers today. Thank you for bravely coming out today and sharing your thoughts and your views on the disastrous policy agenda that the Trump administration is proposing. We demand ethics! 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 We demand ethics!
We demand ethics.
Do we now have anyone from the senator's office with us?
Come outside.
Come outside! Outside! Come 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 outside!
Don't forget, they serve us, not the other way around.
That's right. We are here to send a twofold message to our members of Congress. We will have your back. We will stand with you if you represent our values. Absolutely. But we are also here to demand that you represent our values at every turn, in every way possible. nominees. But they can do even more. They can withhold consent. It's a procedural. Guys, we've got a lot of support out here. I love it. Withhold consent, senators. That's in your power. It's a procedural maneuver that puts Senate business on pause for days at a time. The leadership needs unanimous consent to move forward with usual business, and our senators should say, I object. 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 They can do even more. They can filibuster every bill that comes up in the Senate until Trump's illegal and unconstitutional executive order is rescinded. We will not stand for it. Use your tools, senators. We need you. Just walk out. 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 Just walk out.
Just walk out.
Just walk out!
Walk out of the Senate and walk outside. So our portion outside here is wrapping up. We would like to invite those of you who do want to come up to the senator's offices, you who brought letters. They let small groups of 5 up at a time. But if it takes all day, we'll be knocking on their doors. They've also got office hours today at 1 p.m. Office hours or not, we'll be coming up.
They serve us!
Are those limited to 5 to the office hours?
No.
Thank God.
Thank you. We will be here every Tuesday holding the Resist Trump Tuesday rally for Trump's first 100 days in office. That's right. You can count on it. 11 a.m. at the Federal Building every Tuesday. If you'd like to find out more information, my name's Iga Kozlowska. I'm with Seattle Indivisible. We've got a website going up. It's rudimentary right now, but you can find more information on it about what we're doing. SeattleIndivisible.com.